Hey everybody, due to technical difficulties, I am forced to use Photo Booth again. Sorry for the low quality and that bright blinding sun behind me. I will try to rearrange that so it's not interfering with whatever, but it is 5:57 in the morning and I'm an early bird. I wake up at 3 a.m. every morning, and first thing I want to do is a podcast is a YouTube video, because that's what I do and that's what I like to do. Anyway, today's video is going to be, is kratom safe or is it dangerous? Can it be dangerous? If I had a kid and my kid grew up with migraines like I grew up with migraines, I would for sure give him a sip of kratom. He probably wouldn't drink it because it tastes like shite, but I would give it to him and tell him this will eliminate your migraines, just like it did mine. And that's how safe I think it is. I also have been taking it for 10 years and not one single thing has happened as a result to kratom. I had a seizure once, but that wasn't due to kratom. That was due to the fact that the doctors prescribed the wrong medication for me, which they do quite often. So I try not to rely on doctors as much, and I try to rely on natural stuff. Plants are better than pills. And the reason I am shirtless today is not to offend anybody or to show how fat I am, but is because I took off my shirt to show you guys my tattoos. I was going to explain what they were, and I couldn't get it back on again. I mean, it was like after 20 minutes of trying to put on a shirt, I said, F it, I'm just going to go buck naked. And I also want to show you how I walk. I mean, because this is a full body shot of Chris. And yes, my pants are unbuttoned because I can't button them, they're too tight. But when I walk like this. And that's a pretty bad limp. I can barely walk backwards. But my arm, you can see it's always hanging out. And when I get nervous, my arm comes up to here like this. And I walk like this. That's what my stroke did to me. And it also makes me miss words sometimes. It also creates a generalized anxiety disorder, which caused agoraphobia. And I think all of that came from the fact that I had a post-traumatic stress disorder. I mean, I was just 33 years old laying on my couch in perfect health. I mean, I was a mountain biker, a hiker, a kayaker, a runner, vegan, no drugs, no alcohol, no cigarettes. And out of the blue, I woke up with a migraine, and that migraine, I ignored it because I thought it was just a migraine. Well, that clot came from my leg all the way up to this point in my brain, which is the right arterial. It's like your jugular vein that comes up and it hits your brain and then it turns right. Well, right in that turn, I formed a blood clot that got bigger and bigger and bigger, stopping blood from getting to the rest of my brain. So I have brain damage from my prefrontal cortex all the way down to my occipital lobe. And those words don't mean anything to anybody else but me. After my stroke, I wanted to prove that I was still smart, so I took a neurology class, pre-med neurology, and it was awesome. It was so much fun. I got to learn about the brain. I got to learn about what can be done and what can't be done. And then I found out Elon Musk is making a Neuralink. And if you haven't heard of Neuralink, it's amazing. He's going to make quadriplegics walk again. It's basically a computer interface that they put in your brain and they rewire the connections. So he can rewire the connections so that my left arm will play again and I'll be able to play bass guitar again, which is my dream. Somehow I ended up with a girlfriend. I mean, with all my fat and all of my strokeness, I met this wonderful 25-year-old woman in the Philippines who just through Skype and Facebook Messenger, we've gotten closer and closer and closer to the point where, and she's never once asked me for money, ever. So that's how I know it's true. Because usually a Filipina's, if it's a scam, they're going to ask you for money right away. Oh, my mom's sick and I need money. And she's never once played that game with me. All she does is tells me how much she loves me and how she wants to take care of me. And not that I need a whole lot of taking care of, but it's just amazing. And she's beautiful. And she's 25 and I'm 52, so that might be a little creepy for some people, but for me, it's awesome. Because I don't feel 52. I don't look 52 as far as I'm concerned. I look, at 33 years old when I had the stroke, I stopped growing. I stopped maturing. At 33, I was a school teacher, teaching computer skills and enrichment and business skills. And I had a seizure in the middle of the classroom because of another medicine a doctor prescribed that was wrong. And when I fell down, the kids were like, oh my God, Mr. Irving's dead. Mr. Irving's dead. And so when the ambulance came in to figure out what happened, they put me on the gurney and I said, can you please put the sheet over my head so my kids think I'm dead? That was just my sense of humor. And so they did, and everybody's like, oh my God, Mr. Irving died. And when I came back to school, they were like, what? How the hell did that happen? How did you come back to life? I'm like, because I'm here to torture you all. I'm not done yet. And I did actually die in the hospital from the stroke for 45 seconds. And 45 seconds may not seem like a long time, but when you're dead and there's no blood going to your brain and there's no brain activity and your heart stops, I mean, it's sketchy. So they were really worried. So they kept me in the ICU on life support system for 1 whole month, laying in a bed, pooping in a bedpan. Horrible experience for somebody who's never been to the hospital before. I mean, I couldn't believe it. But the only good thing about it was they gave me a pump, a morphine pump. Pushed the button and it's like, yeah. And I pushed that button until I couldn't push it anymore. Then I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, you've maxed out your morphine. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So right then and there, my addiction was starting. Then when I got out of the ICU, they put me in a inpatient rehab facility where they gave me Percocets because I still had a horrible headache. A stroke feels like you have brain freeze that never goes away. Imagine brain freeze that never goes away. You just want to scream, and I would scream, so they would give me Percocet. And the Percocet didn't really help all that much, but it did make me feel better in a, in a drug-induced state. So there my addiction's getting stronger. I get out of the hospital, I go home. My wife hates me because I'm disabled and I can't mountain bike anymore. I can't fix her bike anymore. So she moves out on me. She moved out 3 times. She had her father rent her an apartment somewhere in town and left me. She's like, oh, I have to leave you so that you can learn how to do things on your own. She left me because she had a new boyfriend. And she wanted to bang the new boyfriend when in a new apartment. And I know this because I had a key to her apartment, and I would pull up and there would be this red pickup truck there, and the red pickup truck was her booty call guy. And I avoided knocking on her door. I acted like I didn't know because I knew we were heading for a divorce. And I'm just I don't like confrontation unless it's going to end up in violence. And I had a stroke, so my violent streak was not that bad anymore. And so eventually, after a couple of years of this, moving out, moving in, moving out, moving in, moving out, I went to the hospital for the 4th time for trying to commit suicide, which I talked about in an earlier video. I'm not suicidal anymore. Suicide isn't the answer. All it did was make me a loser. So I Don't recommend suicide at all to anybody. There's always a better way. Life is worth living. I'm a perfect example of that. I mean, I'm still stroked out, but I still enjoy life. I enjoy making these videos for you guys. And so she finally divorced me. When I got out of the hospital, she kicked me out. And I ended up moving to my parents' house. Yeah, be 49 years old living with your parents. That's really good for your self-esteem. So anyway, if you haven't done so, if you're into kratom at all, like and subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe. I'm up to 553, I think, right now, which is amazing. I'm trying to get 1,000 so I can buy better equipment. Anyway, I love you all my kratomites. I will talk to you in the next video. Hopefully with a better camera. Peace out, all you crazy kratomites.